All right, you guys. So today, after a really thrilling and exciting Mandalorian Season 2 finale, I wanted to actually do a very cool review of a couple of figures from the latest wave of vintage collection figures that we received in the line. So we're going to get a look at the full wave of the figures, but we're going to do a review on only two of these figures, specifically Moff Gideon and our Mandalorian figure, guys. We're going to get a look at those two figures. We will go over the cards on all 5 figures here in the wave, guys. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, guys. So starting with the front of the card and the armorer, very cool figure right here. Absolutely awesome. I do have this in the 6-inch Black Series line as well. She comes with the same accessories, the 2 melding weapons that she has there so she can forge her weapons. Looks like she has the molded cape on her back. And of course, on the card back for her, you have her there in front of her forging area right there. So that is absolutely awesome. Star Wars, the Mandalorian logo, armorer, Kenner logo at the bottom. Very cool. And then for our next card, we have Darth Vader from Rogue One. Now, a lot of people, when they first saw this, they were like, oh man, another Darth Vader. But there are some subtle differences. I believe the suit for Darth Vader is now screen accurate for Rogue One, which is really cool. And you can also see that he has the red lenses as well, which was also featured in Rogue One. And then for the card, we have obviously the hallway scene right there with Darth Vader striking the individual who is force held to the ceiling. For the card, you have your Star Wars Rogue One logo, Darth Vader, and your Kenner logo at the bottom. So absolutely cool card. And then next up is going to be your Mandalorian figure with Beskar armor for the vintage collection line. Of course, you have your figure with the Beskar armor. You have the card backing. This is the scene where he meets up with Grief Karga after he has successfully delivered the child, just prior to him going back to the child from season 1 on the card back. And then you have your Star Wars, the Mandalorian logo, the Mandalorian just underneath that, and your Kenner logo at the bottom. And then for your Moff Gideon figure, very cool figure. And this is the one that I was most excited for in this particular wave, and actually the one that pretty much is the reason for this review. We've already seen the Mandalorian. We've pretty much seen Darth Vader. Of course, the armorers. As a matter of fact, what I will do is probably include the armorer in this particular review as well, since she does go with the series. And then, of course, we have Captain Rex. So we're just going to exclude Darth Vader and Captain Rex for this particular review here. Back to Moff Gideon. You have the Darksaber there for your Moff Gideon figure. He also comes with a side weapon as well. And then, of course, he has this very lovely cape with the red on the inside of the cape, which is absolutely awesome. And then, of course, you have your Star Wars, the Mandalorian logo, Moff Gideon, and your Kenner logo at the bottom. And of course, with your card back, you have Moff Gideon as he is standing on top of his TIE fighter from the season 1 finale. So very, very cool card back for your Moff Gideon. And then last but never to be least is going to be your Captain Rex from the Clone Wars series. Of course, you have your figure there in the bubble with his 2 side weapons. And then for your card back, you have his signature stand, his weapons cross his chest. Very cool Clone Wars logo, Captain Rex, and your Kenner logo at the bottom. So very cool cards, and let's get a look at the back of each one of these cards. All right, you guys, so getting you a look at the back of each one of these cards, and I'm not sure if I have them in the correct order. Unfortunately, I don't have them in the correct order, almost though. But as you can see, all of the cards look exactly the same on the back. So we have our Darth Vader figure, our Captain Rex, our Mandalorian. We also have the Hondo Anaka figure, which I actually have. I actually have two of those. I have one on the card and the one that came with the Galaxy's Edge Falcon. And then you have your Armorer, your Moff Gideon, your ARC Trooper 5s, which I also have. I picked them up a few weeks ago as well. And then we also have our Sharit Imwe as well. And I, again, have picked up that figure as well. A lot of these figures I haven't done reviews on simply because I haven't had the time and vintage collection reviews in. It's just very time consuming to get each one of these reviews done. So eventually I hope to get around to getting those additional reviews in as well, guys. So also you have your Star Wars logo on each one of the cards with the Star Wars banner wrapped around the photos of each one of your figures. And then of course you have all of your readables on each one of the cards. And each card is specifically numbered for its specific figure. So for your vintage collection, for your Armorer, she is going to be Vintage Collection 179. For your Darth Vader, he is going to be Vintage Collection 178. For your Mandalorian, he is going to be Vintage Collection 181. For your Moff Gideon, he is going to be Vintage Collection 180. And then finally, for your Rex Vintage Collection figure, he is going to be 182 in the Vintage Collection line. Absolutely awesome. We're going to pull our figures out of their packaging, which is going to be, again, our Moff Gideon, our Mandalorian, and we'll go ahead and also pull the Armorer out as well, because, again, she does fit the theme for what we're going to be doing here today. And, of course, as we always do, we will be putting together a little diorama. I'm going to actually be doing a diorama for the season 2 finale of The Mandalorian. This is going to take place on Moff Gideon's cruiser, where we have the battle between the Darksaber and the Beskar spear. So we will put together a little diorama of that particular battle, which again takes place on Moff Gideon's cruiser, guys. So stay tuned. All right, you guys, and we have our figures out of the package, and they are absolutely amazing. So let me start everything off by letting you guys know that spear that you see there in the Mandalorian's hand is something homemade. It did not come with the figure. Let me get that done right off the bat. So I just did that for the diorama purposes because we have yet to get the Mandalorian with the spear, which I'm sure that is a figure that we will get in the very near future, not only in the 6-inch line, but as well as in the Vintage Collection line as well. So guys, we're going to get this review started off with the Armorer. So let's go ahead and get a look at the Armorer here. So getting you guys a closer look at the Armorer. So she is really cool. One of my favorite characters in the series. And I definitely hope that we will get to see this character again. We have a lot of great detail in the skirt design, also in the wool covering on the back there. Really cool. On the 6-inch figure, I think she has a couple of stripes right here that I don't see there, so that might be one of the differences from the 6-inch version. But nonetheless, she looks really, really cool. Lots of detail there in the belt, the chest. Very, very nice looking. And of course, again, she does come with her 2 weapons there. So getting you a look at the articulation, your Armorer is going to give you a straight arm like so, elbow bend like so, so really cool. Of course, she will give you the 360, but because of the backing right here, I don't think she will. And I tried to pull it off. I assumed that it came off, but it didn't seem to come off. It seemed like it was going to tear off, so I didn't pull it off. I don't know if someone knows if that is removable, let me know, but I was too afraid to snatch it off of there, thinking that it's molded to the figure. That's what it seems like, because it didn't pop off easily. Like there was, I assumed there was a peg that was holding it in, but I don't see that there. In the T-pose, she actually would be able to give you a very nice T-pose. But again, because of the little cowl that's on the back of her, on her back there, It just doesn't allow the arms to extend out. And again, I don't know if it comes off, so you would be able to get that type of articulation with the armor. Again, mine doesn't seem to come off as easily. The twist is at the elbow. You also get a twist in the wrist, an up and down hinge in the wrist right there, but it doesn't seem to have a lot of movement, but there is an up and down hinge. Same thing with the other wrist. There is a up and down hinge, but it's just not a lot of movement there. In the leg area, she's gonna kick out like so, a knee high like so, back about that far. Your armor's widest stance is gonna be that far. So you have a twist at the thigh. In the ankle area, she's gonna go down like so. She doesn't go up too far. In the torso, she's gonna go down about that far, back about that far. She has a really nice range of motion. And of course you have your left to right. In the head area, she's gonna go down that far, back that far, your left to right, and your head nod. So really, really cool stuff with your armorer figure for the vintage collection. Very nice. And then to get you a closer look at her weapons or her tools, you have hammer, really nice looking. And then you also have her prongs here. It's really nice. Just a standard gray for both tools. So next up is going to be our Mandalorian Beskar armor figure from the vintage collection. Really nice. And you can see his insignia there on his armor. The chest plate. Really good. You have his cape, which seems to be black this time around as opposed to the brown cape that we usually get. So that's interesting that they gave him a black cape. And then of course you also get your jetpack with your Beskar. So that's cool. You have that. Of course he still has his pulse rifle, which spoiler alert, if you have not caught up with the season 2 of Mandalorian, he no longer has that pulse rifle anymore. He may get another one, but he no longer has that weapon. And we know why. So really cool looking figure, very nice. I love the paint apps on the helmet. Looks good. Love that, that looks nice. So really, really awesome stuff. He's got his bombs there on his belt. So very nice detail. Very cool. You get a look at the weapon, the pulse rifle, RIP pulse rifle. And then you have his blaster, his side blaster there in its holster. Fits nicely. Very, very cool. So to go over the articulation just real quickly, we've seen this guy before, but not with the Beskar, so we're gonna go over this very quickly. It's gonna give you a straight arm like so, an elbow bend like so. He will give you the 360 all the way around. Your Mandalorian is going to give you a T-pose like so. Your twist is at the elbow. So you have a twist at the elbow. You have a twist in the wrist as well. You have an up and down hinge in the wrist as well. And it's the same thing for the other side as well. You have that up and down action. Mandalorian figure is going to give you a kick out like so. A knee high bend like so. And he goes back about that far. Mandalorian is going to give you a wide stance that's about that far. Your twist is at the thigh. So you have a twist at the thigh. You also have a twist at the knee as well. In the ankle area, your Mandalorian is going to go down that far, and he's going to go up that far. In the torso, he's going to go down that far, back that far. He has a really nice range of motion in the torso. And then of course you have your left to right. In the head area, he's going to go down that far, back that far, left to right, and your head nod. So really cool stuff with your Mandalorian Beskar Vintage Collection figure. So getting a look at the accessories for your Mandalorian figure, you have your jetpack, really cool. You have the peg that slides into the little slot in the back of your figure. On the back of the figure, you have that little slot. You take it, kind of squeeze it in there, and your Mandalorian is good to go with his jetpack. For me, as far as the cape placement with the jetpack on, I think that suits me the best. But you'll have to find your own pose that suits you. But from the front, you can't really even tell that the cape is laying over the jetpack when you set it off to that particular side. For your pulse rifle, really cool looking weapon. You have the brown handle there. Looks like I got some chips on there, but that's cool. Just gives it character. Have a couple of more paint apps, the little yellow stripes there, which is cool. And you have the silver, pretty much silver on the other side. So really nice, even though this is a weapon that he no longer has. And then for his side pistol, really nice. Again, you have your silver, you have the brown for the wood handle. So very nice weapon. And then for the purposes of our diorama here today, this is going to be our Beskar spear. Now, obviously, it's not the best looking thing in the world, but it was the only thing that I could find that would kind of at least mimic what I wanted from the spear. So next up, we have our Moff Gideon figure with the Darksaber. Really nice. So our first look at the character in figure form. We are expected to get our 6-inch figure of Moff Gideon shortly. I was told that it would be shipping soon. So very awesome looking figure. I love the face sculpt. Probably not best likeness of the actor, but very cool nonetheless. And you have the Darksaber there again. A very cool Imperial outfit, especially for a Moff. It's rare when we see them in black and red. That's very cool. Then of course you have the cape on the back. A very nice long cape. And the cape is removable. Has a peg in the back where you can remove the cape. Of course, now you have your Moff Gideon without the cape. So that is really cool. Then of course he has a side pistol as well. We'll get a closer look at that. And it is holstered, obviously. So nice detail all the way around with your Moff Gideon figure. So really cool stuff. So your articulation with your Moff Gideon figure, he's going to give you a straight arm like so, elbow bend like so. He could give you the 360, but the shoulder armor right here is not really flexible. It's actually molded into the chest piece that goes around Moff there. So it prevents you from getting that 360 motion in the arm. But the arm would give you that articulation had it not been for the armor there. However, the armor is not a problem when it comes to your T-pose. So you're all good there. Your twist is at the elbow. You also have a twist in the wrist as well. There is a hinge, an up and down hinge in the wrist. Mine seems to be super loose, but at least it still kind of holds the integrity, but it moves very easily. That's the easiest I've ever had one move. So for this wrist, you have an up and down hinge as well. Your Moff Gideon is going to give you a kick out like so. He's going to give you a knee high that's about that high. He's going to go back about that far. Your twist is at the thigh. In the ankle area, he's going to go down about that far, goes up about that far. In the torso, he's going to go down about that far, back about that far. You have a really cool range all the way around, your left to right. And then in the head area, he's going to go down that far, going to look up about that far, your left to right, and a little bit of head nod. So really nice stuff with your Moff Gideon vintage collection 3¼ size figure. Very cool. For your accessories, you have a real small side pistol for your Moff Gideon figure. No, the only paint app is the silver over the full weapon. No additional paint apps there, but still very cool. And then of course you also have the cape. The cape has a little notch on the back of it. And as I had demonstrated earlier, just simply press it in and your cape is good to go on your Moff Gideon figure. So that's really, really cool stuff there. And then for your Darksaber, it's really cool. So our first look at this weapon. And again, we should get a look at this in the 6-inch line as well. Now the only inaccuracy that I can see with this weapon is that I don't believe the hilt is black, but I could be mistaken. Perhaps the hilt is black in the show. I'm not sure if I've ever gotten a really good look at it, but I'll need to go back and take a look at it. But I believe the hilt should be gray and not black. But here they've chosen to go with the black hilt on there. I think it would have been much more impressive with the original gray hilt. And then you have a white outline around the black of the blade to kind of give it that Darksaber look. And I'm sure it would have been very difficult to do, but it would have been nice if they would have added like the little cracks that we see that go throughout the little cracks that go throughout the blade, the little white cracks that we see, just to give it a little bit more detail. But obviously this is sufficient enough, but really, really cool weapon. All right, you guys, so now we're going to get our figures in a very cool diorama based off of the season finale for season 2 of The Mandalorian. Let's go ahead and get started with that diorama, guys. you guys, so there you have it with your vintage collection, the latest wave of figures, which includes your Mandalorian Beskar, your Moff Gideon with the dark saber, your armorer. Very, very cool figures, guys. I am very, very impressed with all the figures. Of course, we've already received the Mandalorian. The only difference is the very shiny Beskar. So nothing new or surprising there. Obviously, the Armorer is a must-have figure. So I am very excited to have that in the 3 1/4 size. But the real star of this particular wave is the Moff Gideon figure with the dark saber. Excellent, excellent figure. A must-have figure for your collection, especially if you are a fan of the Mandalorian. And of course, you also get your dark saber with your Moff Gideon figure, which is absolutely cool. I think they could have done a little bit better with the design of the dark saber. I believe the hilt is not the right color, and the various little cracks that we see that is throughout the saber is not present on this particular version of the saber. I'll be very interested to see what the dark saber is going to look like with the 6-inch version of your Moff Gideon. I believe that particular figure should be made available very shortly. I do have mine on pre-order. I did get a notice that it would be shipping out shortly. However, I have not received the actual shipping notice. But obviously, once I get that figure in, I will be doing a review. So, guys, let me know what your thoughts are in regards to any of the figures that we reviewed here today. Have you received your vintage collection, Moff Gideon, Mandalorian Beskar, or the Armorer? And if you have, what do you think of those figures, guys? Let me know and put those comments down below. And guys, I want to thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. And of course, guys, from the Father to the Son to the Obi-Wan Force Ghost, may the Force be with you always.